Welcome to the Get Unbusy Podcast. I'm your host, Kate Philpott, and this podcast is all about throwing your busy work out the window. You deserve to stay locked in on the parts of your business that light a fire under your hoo-ha, alright? The passion-driven freedom lifestyle, not being glued to your laptop every waking minute of the day. It's time to build a business that works for you, not one that works you into the ground. So, let's get unbusy, shall we? Hello and welcome back to the Get Unbusy Podcast. This week, I'm going to be bringing you a conversation that has been floating around my mind for the past few weeks, particularly the past few days. And it's a concept that when I first thought about it, my brain literally almost melted out of my ears, because all I'm going to say is it might just call you out, but I promise it's calling you out with love. And yes, I have to mention it. I sound like a stuffy, nasally queen right now. I've been sick this past few days. I'm actually pretty impressed with how fast my body is getting over it, but I still sound very nasally. Don't worry. I'm using my little Vicks nose inhaler yoke as much as I can, but there's only so much that I can do. So as it stands, we're just going to have to go with the sexy Marge voice or the sexy Phoebe voice. Like, okay. So first of all, the life update of this week is literally the fact that I launched this podcast. This was something I wasn't planning on doing for another 2 weeks to the day. I had a date in mind. I literally set the date as the 19th of March of the launch date. And the reason for that is I wanted to get a couple of things in place first. So I was planning on, these were the things I wanted to get in place first. I was planning on doing a brand new photo shoot so that I could have the perfect podcast art. But before I could do the photo shoot, I also wanted to have my tan done, my nails done, and actually take the time to do some like fun eye makeup or something like that. And there have just been things that have come up with my remote job in the past few weeks, which have meant that I just haven't had the capacity to do that. Another thing is I wanted to have 4 or 5 episodes recorded, edited, and ready to listen to, so that when I launched, there would already be like a semi-bingeable amount of content there. I launched last week with only 3 episodes ready. Only. That makes it sound bad. 3 episodes is still pretty good. But only 3, even though I wanted 4 or ideally 5. I also wanted to have the next 3 to 4 weekly episodes recorded so that there was no pressure from the get-go and I could be ahead of myself in the scheduling and all that, because I love feeling like I'm ahead of the game. If I have something that needs recording today, urgently, it's not going to flow very well. And the thoughts are not going to come out as I want them to come out. And I'm going to probably sound stressed. But I didn't wait until I had all that. I was also waiting to hear back from the creator of the podcast music that I chose to make sure that it was cool for me to use it for my podcast and what the terms were and stuff. But guys, he was taking days to respond. And I didn't think he was going to reply at all. But it all seemed okay. I don't know. I don't understand the whole licensing thing, but, you know, I don't want to get into any legal trouble. But anyway, right? Those are the things I wanted to have in place. The point here is for me to put off launching the podcast until I had those things in place. That would have been me hiding behind and waiting for all of the ducks to line up, for everything to be perfect and for everything to be ready. And honestly, fuck ready. Fuck ready. Ready is not the vibe. In fact, it's not even a real thing. I was just delivering a training inside a challenge that I'm hosting in Work Smart Academy right now about how ready I'm doing like the bunny ear fingers. Ready is literally a concept that does not exist. And the only thing that gets you to feel ready is taking the action anyway. And then you realize you were ready all along. So why don't we just skip the waiting part? Because this feeling of being ready is something I'm not willing to wait around for. I got shit to do. I got a brand to build here. I'm not going to be waiting around until this like mysterious feeling of ready, which is, what does that even mean? And this does actually directly relate to the challenge that I'm hosting in the membership. It's called Aerodynamic. You may have seen me speaking about it on Instagram, because it's all about literally giving your all and going hog wild, taking batshit crazy action and letting the momentum build more than ever before in your business. And you know what's not batshit crazy? What's not batshit crazy is taking 2 entire weeks unnecessarily to get a podcast out in the world that people need right now. What would I be waiting for? What would I have been waiting for? It's a no from me. No, thank you. That's not how I plan on doing things. And if we actually look back at those things, the things that I was putting off the launch of the podcast for, let's go into those, right? Is the world going to end if I release the podcast with certain podcast art that changes in a week or two? Because the original podcast art isn't perfect because I want to do a brand photo shoot. No, the world is literally not going to end. I can change the podcast art at any given time. What a fucking non-issue. And that was the main one. That was the main thing that had me waiting. What a non-issue. Another thing, is it more exciting to launch on a whim where I feel it in my gut and I'm like, oh my God, I want to launch this right now. Like, I'm going to hit publish right now. Or is it more exciting to be like, well, you know, I'm going to record 2 more episodes and edit them and get them perfect and blah, blah, blah. No! What a boring way to run a business. Safe action gives you safe results, but you know what it also does? It bores the tits off you. No, thank you. I'm not here for my tits to be bored off me. The next part. If I don't have 3 to 4 episodes batched for the next few weeks, is that a problem? Absolutely not. That is not a problem. Especially because right now, because I'm genuinely so excited about this podcast and the fact that I just fucking launched it, I'm like, I have all of this energy and excitement in me in relation to the podcast. I'm just going for it. And those episodes, I know, I can already feel them. They're going to flow out of me as if I just took like 10 laxatives. Okay, so I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned at all. And the last one, I suppose, is a little bit more iffy about potential licensing issues with the podcast music. And do you know what? He actually did eventually respond after I launched. He responded after I posted the first few episodes, and he did say that, yeah, it's totally fine for standard use, but if you're going to be monetizing your podcast either now or in the future, that you'll have to purchase the license that makes it permissible for commercial use, right? And you know, I've actually already mentioned my membership on the podcast, so I have had to change the music. But that's already sorted. And I've already swapped out the original episodes with the new podcast music, which is also a vibe, and which I have paid for the proper licensing for. So I paid for the licensing for different music rather than the same, because it was a more reliable and streamlined source rather than going to a single person who was selling me a license that I don't understand. I just wanted to make sure it was like solid. But anyway, problem solved. Was it a big problem? No! It was such a small problem that it's already solved and dealt with by the time you're hearing this. So again, just let this be a moment where you're like, what have I actually been putting off until next week, until next month, that I could literally take hog wild action on and get into the world today or tomorrow at the latest? Like, what the fuck am I waiting for? Like, what if you were hit by a bus next month? I'm sorry, like, we only have today. And here's the big message, okay? Your next big milestone is hiding in the shadows of what you're not willing to do. I could give you a list of 20 things right now that would undeniably grow your business. But if you're not willing to do them, then of course you're not going to get the results. And you're getting the results that relate to the stuff that you have been willing to do. Are you happy enough with those results, or could you go bigger? Do you know, I actually am going to give you a list. Okay, you want to grow your business? You could speak on podcasts. You could plan a summit to host in the summer. You could host guest expert sessions inside other people's memberships or group programs. You could host a bundle. You could go live on Instagram, either on your own or with collaborators. You could start a YouTube channel, a podcast, write a book, host an in-person event. You could post 10 reels in a single day. All of those things would grow your business because it literally wouldn't make sense for them not to. And yet, you'll find yourself going, Oh, but I'm not going to do that. Yeah, babe. Exactly. So I'll say it again. Your next big milestone is hiding in the shadows of what you're not willing to do. So what are you not willing to do that you know would bring your business growth? That could be an income milestone, a visibility milestone, whatever metric we're talking about. It's actually all related to you growing your business anyway. So there's that. And if you've found yourself in a season of, oh, things aren't really moving. Why aren't things moving? Why aren't I getting the results I feel like I deserve? I'll ask you, are you moving? And I don't just mean doing the usuals. I don't just mean, posting a few times a week on social media or sending the occasional email or, providing value to the clients that you already have. I don't mean the typical things. I mean, are you going out of your way to get your sweet, wonderful, extremely valuable self in front of more eyes? Genuinely, more people need to know who you are. There are people out there who wish they had a you. They wish they had a you. They just don't even know who you are. And I hate to break it to you, but I also kind of love to break it to you. That's not their fault. Ooh. So where can you go bigger? Where can you stretch yourself beyond what you've been allowing for yourself? What if it's actually more safe to do that because you get to experience your business on a whole new level? Oh, this is obviously a topic on my mind because it's exactly what we're doing for the whole month of March inside the membership. But let me tell you, right? It is no coincidence that only 3 days into that challenge of taking bigger action and really going for it, I have launched a brand new podcast, posted a thread about launching the podcast and had that thread go viral with loads of people reaching out to me, congratulating me, asking me to come on as a guest on their podcast, asking to come as a guest on my podcast. And also in this first 3 days of the challenge, I've had 2 more people join my membership. And I've created and launched a new freebie. What? What? Just in the first 3 days of the challenge, and it's a 30-day challenge. Now, obviously, if you're hearing this and March isn't over yet, you can still join us. There's still time. And clearly, it doesn't need to take the whole 30 days to start getting results. But that cannot be a coincidence. When you decide you're taking it up a notch and you're moving bigger and you're like, no, do you know what? Fuck safe results. Fuck results that are boring the tits off me. I want to move. When you decide you're moving bigger, people feel that and they move with you. And it's a whole other experience. Now, I know as you're listening to this, something is on your mind. Something you've been holding off on. And because you're listening to this podcast, you're actually considering doing it now. Simply by being part of this conversation. I know there's something on your mind. A summit, a bundle. Maybe it's a podcast as well. Maybe it's something else. There is something. And you're probably smiling to yourself because you're like, shit, she sees me. She sees into my brain. I can't hide anywhere. I'm here to tell you that this is your sign. This is your sign. I know there's some discomfort. I know. But the results on the other side are so worth it. And this right here is the message that you needed to say, fuck it. Go for it. Do it. What could you possibly be waiting for? It's not worth the wait. It's worth the action. Oh my God, I just want to scream into the microphone. Now, I want you to just soak in this vibe. If this made you feel something, I want you to just soak in it. And whatever that thing is that's coming up, this is your fucking moment. I want you to turn this podcast off when it's done and start mapping it out. Whip out a piece of paper and just start brainstorming, because this energy that you're feeling inside of you is the energy that's going to make that thing work. It's going to make it flow and it's going to make you feel so fucking good. This is how we run passion-led businesses, by getting fired up and then going with whatever the idea is that has us feeling so fired up. Even if it's a little scary, even if it's a little uncomfortable. Nobody really got into this to be comfortable. We didn't. I mean, yeah, there's something to be said for like stability, monthly recurring revenue, blah, 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 blah. But I also know that the kind of people that find themselves in my world are incredibly ambitious. And you're like, I see a different kind of life for myself than most people. I see myself doing really big things, and a lot of people would tell me that I need about 100 lifetimes to do it all. But I've only got this one lifetime, at least as far as I know. But that's a whole other conversation. This isn't a reincarnation podcast. But what can you do? What big action can you take? How can you accelerate your timeline? Yeah, I'm a productivity strategist, but it's so much deeper than that. It's actually so much deeper than that. And I specialize in systems, SOPs, automations, you know, all of that stuff. But it, like I said, so much deeper than that. It's about making big fucking moves. Yes, the systems create the capacity for us to do that. So if you're overwhelmed and you've too much going on right now, then the systems kind of have to happen first. But I know there's something on your mind that you can take an action towards today. Even set a timer for half an hour and just get moving on it. Because the chances are you're going to start building momentum towards that. And then you're not going to be able to stop. You're going to be like, oh, this is too good. Now, I know that a lot of people in my audience are very busy, overwhelmed people with lots to do on any given day. And it is pretty exhausting. And there's genuinely nothing more frustrating in business than starting your workday and having like 20 things to do and no clue where to start. So I've created a resource for you called the Priority Game Dashboard. Basically, it's a really fun way of deciding what task should get your attention first. You essentially it's free, by the way. You essentially put all your tasks head to head with each other, like in their own little tournament, and towards the end, one comes out on top, and that's the one you do first. And based on my philosophy, if you have one top priority for the day and you get that done, then the day has been a success, and anything you do beyond that is a bonus. So I do this most days, to be honest. I just find it really fun. It is a really fun way to actually get your priorities straight and figure out, okay, what am I actually doing first? Because I can't do 20 things at once. And it's completely free. So you can grab that at creatorproductivity.com/the-priority-game or through the link in the show notes. Ooh, okay. I'm feeling like I should go run like a 10K now, because that conversation lit me up, and I cannot wait to hear, and I want you to run to my DMs with the thing that you're going to take action on, the big thing that you've been putting off, that you know you've been putting off, that you're kind of afraid to like admit even to me, because that means there's going to be some accountability and you're going to have to do it. But I can't wait to hear what those things are, and I can't wait to cheer you the fuck on in doing that. So go and do that, DM me the thing, do your 30 minutes, and I will chat to you next week. All right, gorgeous, that's a wrap on today's episode of the Get Unbusy podcast. If you got some juicy golden nuggets from this episode, I want to hear about it. So take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at MoreToLifeKate, because your girl wants to know. And remember, you're an absolute powerhouse. You can create the life you've been dreaming of, and I can't wait to see you pop off. Chat to you soon. Bye.